Some names echo through the centuries, like lightning across the sky, and among them stands Thomas, the apostle who dared to doubt. But was his doubt truly weakness, or the spark that reignited the faith of millions? Imagine standing before the unexplainable. Death has won, the master has fallen, and the shadows of fear surround you. Who, in the darkest night of the soul, would not tremble? Who would not question? Thomas was not merely a disciple. He reflected humanity in its fragility. Perhaps more than anyone, he represents you, me, every one of us searching for a sign. In this video, we will walk the paths of Galilee, feel the weight of uncertainty, and hear the whisper of the risen Christ. Prepare to embark on a journey of faith, doubt, and reunion that transcends time. Because Thomas's story is not just about one man. It's about every heart that has ever asked, "Lord, where are you?" If you've ever experienced doubt, felt alone in God's silence, this video is your story too, and I'd love for you to share in the comments. What's your greatest experience of faith? Thomas was a simple man from Galilee, with humble dreams and calloused hands from labor. But when Jesus called him, something deep stirred in his heart, as if a wind blew a new destiny. It wasn't just an invitation to follow a man, but to walk in the light that pierces the darkness. Thomas looked at the other disciples and the world around him and felt his life would never be the same. There was a quiet, almost audacious courage within him, ready to face storms and fears. He would become living testimony that faith is often born in the moment of decision. Every step behind Jesus was a step into the unknown, yet Thomas pressed forward. How would he face his first doubts, the ones we all feel before the impossible? The calling was not only for him, but for all of us who have heard life whisper, "Come." And here, the story begins to reveal cracks in human certainty, setting the stage for the next chapter. Thomas walked beside Jesus, learning that faith is not just believing, but living every moment as sacred. The Master looked at him with tenderness, sensing his restlessness, inviting him to overcome fear. In their steps through villages, Thomas felt the touch of transformation. Every word from Jesus was like water on dry soil. He began to understand that following wasn't just moving forward. It was allowing oneself to be shaped by the unseen. Friendship with Jesus brought questions and hope side by side, like shadow and light intertwined. Thomas laughed, gasped, doubted, but always returned to the presence that filled the emptiness in his heart. This closeness revealed both the greatness of the Master and the humanity of Thomas. The disciple witnessed miracles, but still carried skepticism that makes us human, connecting us to real life. And there, between awe and amazement, Thomas began to experience what it means to trust before understanding. The seed of doubt quietly germinated, preparing the soil for the moment that would change everything. One day, Jesus looked at his disciples and spoke words that would echo for eternity. He promised life beyond death, a light no darkness could extinguish, hope that spans generations. Thomas listened, heart racing, but doubt still whispered in his mind. He wanted to believe, but needed to touch, needed to see for his faith to become rock solid. The promise was not only for him, but for all seeking meaning amid life's chaos. It was a bridge between the visible and invisible, between human and divine, between fear and courage. Thomas felt the weight of understanding, of opening to something greater than reason itself. He sensed that the journey of faith would be full of tests, yet also of encounters that would reshape his soul. At that moment, though unaware, he began preparing for the moment that would define his story. What Thomas didn't know yet was that the promise would demand more than courage. It would demand courage in doubt. The day fell like a storm on the disciples' hearts. Jesus was arrested, humiliated, condemned. Thomas, who longed for certainty, saw his hope nailed to the cross. The silence that followed death was deafening, an abyss where faith seemed to vanish. The one who promised life now lay shrouded in shadows of death. Thomas wept, but his tears were not only of sorrow, They were of confusion. If the Master was life, how could life have been defeated by death? Despair turned to isolation, as it does for many of us in tragedy. He withdrew, seeking answers where there was nothing but silence. And in that withdrawal, the greatest challenge of his soul was born, to believe without seeing. Yet the heavens were already arranging an encounter that would forever change his story. While Thomas remained in silent mourning, the other disciples gathered in fear and hope. And in that room of closed doors, the impossible happened. Jesus appeared among them. The Master's words echoed like gentle thunder. "Peace be with you." Hearts were set ablaze with joy. Tears mingled with smiles of disbelief. They saw the wounded hands, the pierced side, proof that death had not won. The promise fulfilled was right before their eyes, transforming fear into certainty. But Thomas wasn't there, and his absence would become the story's turning point. While all celebrated, his soul remained surrounded by shadows of doubt. The disciples rushed to tell him, but Thomas refused to believe mere words. He demanded proof, as so many of us do when life strikes too hard. Thomas heard the disciples' account, yet his mind resisted the impossible. "I won't believe unless I touch the marks," he said, and his words would echo across centuries. This doubt wasn't weakness, but a bridge between human and divine. Many of us have felt the same, needing proof before surrendering to faith. Thomas represented every heart that hesitates, every spirit seeking tangible signs. His resistance didn't separate him from God. It drew him closer to the truth only touch could reveal. As he stood firm in his demand, the universe seemed to hold its breath. The apostle's story became a silent invitation to all who question and wait. His steps would soon lead to a decisive moment where doubt would meet the glory of confirmation. But to reach it, he would have to confront not just evidence, but his own unbelief. The day arrived, silent and heavy with expectation, when Jesus appeared again. This time, Thomas was present, ready to look the impossible in the eyes. The Master didn't rebuke him. He simply extended his hands, marked by love and suffering. "Put your finger here and see my hands. Reach out your hand and place it in my side. Do not doubt but believe," he said, and Thomas's world trembled. The moment he touched, doubt dissolved like mist under morning sun. Thomas fell to his knees, not from weakness, but reverence, before the divine he could now feel. Incredulity turned to praise, and faith was born with the force of one who has seen beyond the veil of death. And in this encounter, every viewer may wonder, how many times must we touch the invisible to believe? Thomas didn't just believe. He became a living witness to the promise fulfilled. This profound transformation would plant seeds of courage to face all fears yet to come. Thomas did not keep his encounter to himself. His heart burned to share the truth. He became a voice and testimony, reminding all that faith lives when we dare to speak. The courage to proclaim the impossible turned fears into hope, doubts into inspiration. Every word he spoke carried the weight of experience, every gesture the power of conviction. The disciples were inspired, and the message spread across villages, seas, and centuries. Thomas discovered that faith grows strongest when shared, and every testimony echoes eternally. Even those who had doubted could find in him a reflection of their own struggles. His example invites us to share not only victories, but our uncertainties as well. As he walked the world, spreading the light of resurrection, doubt turned into strength. Thomas's life became a beacon for all seeking courage amid darkness. After the transformative encounter, Thomas felt the call to go beyond Galilee. It wasn't merely a journey across land. It was a journey that would cross cultures, seas, and hearts. He carried the message of resurrection to distant lands, planting seeds of faith where silence prevailed. Every step showed that courage is born when truth becomes mission. Thomas knew witnessing is never comfortable. It is walking the unknown with trust in the unseen. His life became an example of perseverance, resonating through generations. For every viewer, his journey is a reminder. Faith manifests when we step out of our comfort zones. Crossing boundaries, Thomas teaches that each mission is greater than our fears. As he spread the light, he left trails of hope we can still follow today. But to grasp the full impact, we must look at the legacy he left for all of us. Thomas's name echoes through centuries as a symbol of courage in the face of doubt. He reminds us that questioning is not weakness, but the path to deep, conscious faith. His steps show that believing is a daily act of courage, a decision of heart and soul. Thomas's life inspires those who feel lost, searching for signs in the silence of the world. He teaches that doubt can transform into encounter, fear into testimony. Every story shared, every touch of truth strengthens faith that transcends generations. Today, we too are called to walk courageously, to share our experiences, to turn uncertainty into bridges, connecting lives and hearts to something greater. Thomas's legacy challenges us to live with intensity, to seek, touch, and believe. And I want to hear from you. Share your own experiences of faith and transformation in the comments. Thomas's story reminds us that every doubt, fear, and question does not separate us from faith. They bring us closer to the divine, shape us, and prepare us for encounters that transform the soul. Thomas walked from disbelief to conviction, from darkness to light, from silence to testimony. He became a beacon for all who dare to seek answers in the impossible. Every step he took is a silent invitation to look within, recognize our fears, and realize that true faith is not the absence of doubt, but the courage to persist in uncertainty. If Thomas's story touched you, reflect. Where do you still need to see with eyes of faith? Which doubt, fear, or hope do you carry and are ready to transform into courage? Share your experience in the comments. Inspire and be inspired. Because, like Thomas, each of us can become a witness to the light that overcomes darkness. And remember, the journey doesn't end here. It continues in every heart that chooses to believe. God bless your life.